Welcome to the Yeah We Know podcast, part of the More You Knows podcasting network. You're in the ring with Jimmy, Chris, and Rod, and I am coming in hot. We are live again here on YouTube, on X, and Facebook. If you are a listener, a viewer, or just happen to find us, throw a comment in the chat. We'll definitely talk to you. We are your view, your window into the WWE. Wow, it's still hot. A lot of storylines going on. So let's bring it down. Chris, give me your old man take.
Welcome back to the WWE that I left well over 20 years ago, where I get to see blood on Friday nights. All right. I have seen a.
Are you taking a shot at my guy? Or are you taking a shot at my guy?
No. I'm just saying we are definitely seeing a new era. All right. I didn't see blood for 2+ years coming back. And now we're seeing it almost on a weekly basis, right? I think I see a turn. We're getting ready to go to a Netflix deal next year. Are we going to see a more TV 14 or TV a higher rating MA type rating?
No, because Netflix doesn't have those. I don't think so. That's kind of cool. Rod, do you like your blood with your wrestling?
Yeah, I wasn't for sure we were turning into a True Blood there at the beginning of this podcast, right? I didn't know vampires and all that kind of stuff was coming up here. But what I want to do is shout out the man whose merch I am wearing right here. Happy birthday to John Cena. Somehow we're still able to see him after all of these years, and I appreciate all he's given to the sports entertainment world. So we're clearly here, Jimmy, just to celebrate John Cena, talk about his career highlights, and explain to people why he truly is the GOAT, right? That's what this episode's all about, I imagine.
This is the GOAT John Cena episode. As you all know, he was in a tag team match, I believe, a couple of weeks ago, so that extends his streak of consecutive years wrestling. I don't think he's going to wrestle very much more this year just because of all of his movie commitments. Speaking of movie commitments, we're not going to see The Rock very much either because he has a little bit of Moana to take care of. We want to get that movie career going back up again, okay? They can't all be Rampage, but they can be some good ones coming up for sure. A lot of news to talk about. I want to go straight to the top. Let's talk about it. Let's talk about the table that would not die. The table on Monday Night Raw, the main event. All we needed it to do was break once. It didn't. All we needed to do was break the second time. It didn't. And then it finally broke the third time when I think Nia killed Becky. That table in that main event battle royal, which, yes, we're talking about a table outside the ring. That's a battle royal. So you can go outside if you want. It's so interesting to me when something that huge just doesn't work. I thought Nia Rod did a really good job of trying. All right, fine. Didn't break. I'm going to go with a backdrop, Simone backdrop there, but she couldn't get her up the first time, had a little trouble second time, got her up third time, still didn't break, but almost killed Becky. Rod, how do you think that spot went, and then your overall view of the Battle Royal for the Women's Championship?
That spot was absolutely fabulous. I mean, I'm just going to be selfish here. Those are the kind of spots that I look for, right? I mean, the drudgery of a Monday Night Raw week after week, right? We're leading to a backlash in Lyon, France, coming out of WrestleMania, right? We got a lot of people off. We got a lot of people hurt, right? We're churning, Jim. We're churning the bottom of the butter churn, as it were. I don't know why we're making butter all of a sudden as a wrestling analogy, but go with me. That's where I went, right? So I'm grabbing onto anything. And a botched spot like that is something that I dig because it makes me laugh. But then I have to go to the actual storyline, and I'm surprised. I'll say that there's a lot to be talked about, I suppose, out of it. I'm surprised is the first thing I'll say. Let's go to Chris on this. I don't want to talk too much of the airspace.
All right, so I actually enjoyed, especially the beginning of this battle royale. I liked the Piper Nevin versus Nia Jax type.
I love you so much, Chris. Yeah.
Earthquake in the center of the ring that we got, the table that would not break. I thought that was a great spot. Whether that was, of course, that table's supposed to break, I get it, but I liked it that it did it. It makes the tables that do break seem more realistic when you have tables that don't. So I kind of dig on that. After that spot, though, is where I think the battle royale lost some of its fuel or lost some of its fire. And especially towards the end, I did like the double team against Nia Jax to get her out, but past that, I don't know. I didn't enjoy the ending that much. It didn't keep me that engaged, and it didn't look that great.
Well, I think that first of all, if a table doesn't break, it actually hurts a lot. So we do need to keep that in mind. We don't want anybody getting actually hurt here. But I thought the end was interesting because Becky went through the middle rope. So Becky was never in danger of being eliminated. I'm pretty sure that was the case, where Liv obviously did go over the top rope. So they've done that spot a lot, though, Rod. And it seems like it always scares me a little bit because if you mess up, it's over. I mean, but I think that's kind of getting a little old, and we need to go to a different direction.
They've done that spot a lot with Liv. That's the other thing that makes it seem even worse. You know what I mean? Like, that's basically the way Liv Morgan's last 2 Royal Rumbles have gone, right? Where she's been number 2 in the Royal Rumble, and it's basically been a spot like that, right? We all remember Dolph Ziggler and Kofi and a few other guys doing wild things in battle royals, but those times have gone. Like, first off, I just want to say I think it's cheap. All right, it's cheap to have the women's title won in a battle royal where you have. I don't mean any disrespect to any of these women, okay? But Indy Hartwell, Candice
but disrespecting
LeRae,
the following women, yes.
Ivy Nile, Maxine Dupree, you know what I mean? Like, none of these people are going to be WWE champion. Like, they're just all complete fodder. So what's the sense in having any of them in the ring in that battle royal where all you're trying to do is get rid of them? Chris is right to point out Piper Niven. I think you did a decent job of trying to boost her up a little bit. Her and Chelsea Green have kind of a new twist on their thing. Piper Niven doesn't mind being exploited by Chelsea Green now, I suppose. Yeah, she's fine with it. So I think there were good spots in there, but I'm surprised that they put the belt on Becky Lynch. You could have convinced me Becky Lynch is going to go away for 6 months and we weren't going to see her, and now all of a sudden she's the champ. So I'm surprised by that, Jimmy.
Yeah, I just think they wanted somebody who's going to be able to main event house shows, to me main event SmackDown or Raw, wherever, if she gets drafted to one place or the other. But we also have a lot of built-in feuds. We have obviously Liv Morgan right away, just because they're the last 2 in there, so Liv Morgan go after it. We have Nia Jax. That feud will never end, and I pray for Becky every time she's in the ring with Nia Jax. So there are some feuds that we have, and then you have your Candice LeRae or Indy Hartwells that can just come up and one and done. Chelsea Green being eliminated and then going back in, I thought was interesting, but they didn't go anywhere with it at all. That would have been kind of cool for her to maybe even go to the final. Listen, you can do whatever you want. You're as hot as hell right now. If you put the belt on a Chelsea Green, people are going to talk about it. It could be for one week. That's fine. It could be for 2 days, with the draft coming up. You never know. I think Becky, though, she needed a little bit more steam. She lost a little steam there somewhere. People were really all about Rhea. Becky's got the belt now, so give her a couple-month run with it, Chris.
Listen, you can't go wrong with Becky Lynch having the belt, I don't think. I mean, she is the man. She represents the belt well for the WWE. You can't deny that. I do think we're seeing a trend that is the opposite of what we did have, where now you have almost all baby faces holding the belt except for a couple, whereas before you had a lot of heels holding belts and only a couple baby faces.
Okay. We have speaking of belts, we have some new tag team titles for both Raw and SmackDown. The SmackDown belts kind of give you the old school WWE Championship belt look, whereas the Raw ones kind of give you that World Championship look that they have. Makes a little sense on that brand. Just real quick, what do you think about the design of the belts, Rod?
I like that they seem more gold, right? Like, gold seem to be more upfront here. They seem to be a little bit more all that glitters is gold type, like something that you really do actually want to get your hands on. It didn't seem like a bunch of wild logos and a bunch of, weird squiggly lines that were, it was like, hey, here's actual jewel, here's bedazzled things, right? Here's craftsmanship. So I dug it from that standpoint. But as far as like what actually is on there, I don't care. But it looked cool and shiny and goldier, and like more people should want it.
Goldier, Chris.
Yeah. He's right. Goldier is the correct terminology that we should be using here. And they are much more attractive than the old ones. They're definitely a lot more desirable.
All right, now we got to bring it down a little bit. DIY. Not looking too good right now. Chop up, not happy.
Pour one out.
Good news is nobody fights better than Ciampa and Johnny Gargano together. So that actually might get some people other than myself and the people of Cleveland and or Columbus, Ohio behind them. That could work. What do you think?
Pour one out for DIY, man. You could have convinced me they were gaining a little steam, and then they came out for that match, and you saw, nope, there's no steam being gained by DIY whatsoever. I feel bad for those guys because I like both of them, and I like the idea of the tag team, but it's like, I'm going to sound so evil saying this, but it seems way more like an NXT thing than it does like a main roster thing. Like DIY just works so much better at that kind of an environment than it does in the main roster, Jim.
All right, I am doing my producing right now. I have muted Rod. All right, Chris. You excited at all? I don't know if you can unmute yourself, actually. There you go. Chris, what do you think about DIY's breakup here?
Yeah, they weren't moving the needle for me. Okay. The only thing that was moving the needle was you, Jimmy, and being a fan of them. That was the only reason that I kind of cared that they existed. I'm not a big Gargano
He's not
fan.
getting muted. What he just said is worse than what I said.
I'm gonna let him mute after he's done rabbling on. Good jerk.
Yeah, listen, I don't think this affects the main roster at all.
Not at all. No one cares. All right, here we go. Let's go on. Hey, guess what? We got a lot of breakups going on. Okay, first of all, Gunther is back. He's going to win the King of the Ring, and then he's going to face Cody Rhodes, I think, at SummerSlam. That's what's probably going to happen.
Oh, boo. Boo that. Boo that.
But we have Giovanni Ribisi, if you will, Chris, is being kicked out sorry.
Boo that as well.
Yeah, I don't like breaking up tag teams just for the sake. Ludwig Kaiser, I don't see him going too far as a single. Giovanni Vinci is going to be out of WWE, unfortunately, I think, sooner rather than later now. Just keep them together. They're a great tag team. I don't know why you break them up. This Rod seems like a Vince McMahon move to me, honestly.
It does reek a little bit of old Vincent Kennedy here, does it not? But no, yeah, you're right about that. It's a bullshit move. I'm sorry, but it is. It's a bullshit move by Gunther and Kaiser here. I disagree with you. I think Kaiser has a little bit of charisma. I don't think he's ever getting over as a baby face, but I think that dude could definitely be involved in like a heelish thing where like just week after week he's getting over on somebody and you're just like, oh my God, we got to bash Kaiser's face in. I think he's absolutely good at a gimmick like that, and you need those every now and again. So I think Kaiser can do that. I mean, I think he's way good behind the mic, and I think that can get you far in the WWE. He looks chiseled out of stone, right? I mean, he's got a few things going for him, Jim. I think you're underselling Kaiser a bit here, but it's a bullshit move to somehow say it was Vinci's fault that Gunther doesn't have the belt anymore.
Hey, Chris, we have 7 bullshits on the that's 8 on the podcast. Do you think anything's bullshit? 9?
I do think Kaiser can work as a heel. He has a punchable face, and that works. If Giovanni Ribisi isn't going to be around for very much longer, is his contract up? Is that the reason why they're breaking him up now?
No, I think it's just
they're
time
breaking him up because you don't know what his name is. No one knows what his name is. He doesn't matter.
Yeah, I think they think a little bit more of Ludwig Kaiser than they do of Giovanni Vinci. I
apologize to the Vinci family, even though that's not really his name. Whatever the guy's family's real name is, I apologize to all of them. All right.
That was Imperium's breakup. Judgment Day, not looking too good either. Not looking good at all. A lot of infighting. Dom is now hurt, so Mommy has to get hurt. Now Dom is actually hurt as well, so they had to mix some things up there. But good news on Judgment Day, though. Finn Balor is back, signed with WWE again.
That is good news. I want to live in a world where everyone leaves the Judgment Day and JD McDonough is actually begging R-Truth to come back to the Judgment Day. That's the storyline that I want to see happen. Can I sign up for that, please?
Oh, it might be great. But Chris, let's talk about the real one, though. Let's put our fingers up for the Bloodline, led by Solo Sikoa and Tama Tonga. And Jimmy Uso, Chris, is out of the bloodline.
Yeah, I mean, do
Thank
we?
Yes, Jim, you're correct. Moving on.
I was gonna say, I don't.
WrestleMania will occur next year at some point. Okay, go ahead.
Bloodline has disintegrated. All right, I'm sorry, but Solo has no sway over me. I mean, I get he's getting pushed. I kind of thought this would happen. It took a lot longer than I originally anticipated it, but you don't have Heyman on his side right now, so that's going to be interesting. But that's about the only thing I'm
You
interested
don't
in
think
when it comes
you
to
don't think WWE Hall of Famer Paul Heyman is going to continue to work with Solo Sikoa, Chris? You don't think that's something that's going to happen?
I think something weird is going to happen because I don't trust Paul Heyman, and neither should Solo Sikoa.
Dude, I love you, dude, because it's like you literally don't trust him, and that's why. I think it's terrific. Yeah,
Jimmy,
I
hold
don't
on.
either.
No, hold
Yeah.
on, hold on. We can't leave this yet because here's what
No.
we're cooking up, Chris. All right, here's what we're cooking up, and this is what I want to know from you. Cards on the table. All right, Solo continues on this path, wearing suits, getting booed, doing
what
all
is
this
that?
stuff with Tama Tonga. Right? I don't know about the suits at all because
Yeah.
Roman never wore suits, but we are priming the pumps, Chris, for Roman Reigns music to hit when Solo Sikoa is doing something dastardly, and we are looking at Roman Reigns returning as a face. Chris, will you allow it? Will you even let your old, shriveled, dried up heart allow it?
If they have done enough with this storyline to make me want to see Solo fall as hard as I wanted to see Roman fall, then probably. But if I'm beginning to want Solo to fall from the grace that I wanted to see Roman, he has to get the title. A lot of stuff has to happen. I would want to see him fall from that high point. I don't know if I'm going to care if 3 months from now Roman comes back and wants to take on Solo for head of the table again. I don't know if that moves my needle that much.
What happens though when Solo Sikoa says, "Acknowledge me," and then we hear "da-dun, da-dun," Roman Reigns music hit? That's going to be awesome, and Roman Reigns will be the number one face. Well, yeah, he might be the number one face in the company when that happens. It depends where we go with it. My boy Kevin Owens had to take one for the team. Not very happy with that at all. But as Rod said, Kevin Owens is the perfect wrestler for one thing, and it's to get other people over, and him staying over himself because he is good in the ring. So not looking good for my boy. Not looking good for my boy, Rod.
No, it definitely isn't. I don't know exactly why Solo was that mad at him. I still don't know if I get it, and I don't really have to get it because again, nobody bleeds or looks like they're getting pounded better than Kevin Owens, so he was the perfect man for that deal. But I don't know, man. Is Kevin Owens? He listen. He deserves a break, right? I mean, give him a break. The guy's going to be out for a little while. Let's give him a break. You know, everybody deserves a break. And that's why we have Tama Tonga Vailoa. Is that his name? Is it Tonga Vailoa? Is he
Yes,
in that family?
it is. Yeah, he is actually to his brother. Yeah, remember he used to be a quarterback too, and then he went into wrestling. That's exactly who that is on the Yeah We Know podcast here in the ring with Jimmy, Rod, and Chris. Sheamus is also back, getting fat shamed. Wish I could be fat shamed like
Be
Sheamus.
ashamed of your boy, Chris. You should be ashamed of your boy.
That was bad. Banger, banger, banger. Looks like burger, burger, burger. We are in the year 2024, Chris. Health and well-being is important, especially when you get a call 3 weeks earlier than you think you're going to get a call, and you don't even have your proper tights with you. Yeah, I'm excited to see it. WWE's better with Sheamus in it. I think it'll be fine.
Yeah, listen. Okay.
I am listening.
My guy comes out and talks.
I wish other people would.
And speak the truth. Listen to the truth. Did anything he say?
I did not expect
Not
this.
factual?
Okay, let's go.
All right.
Let's go.
Wow.
Burger, burger, burger. And that's what it looked like. I'm sorry. Like, he didn't do anything. It may be considered rude if you want to, but like he said, he's out there speaking the truth and speaking to facts.
So he's still a face in your mind then, right? Because he's a truth teller. He's a baby face fat shaming someone.
I don't think he fat shamed anybody. He was pointing out what other people.
Someone just liked what I said. I appreciate that. Thank you for the like, everybody. Appreciate that. Yeah. Why don't you say that? Let's get a thumbs down for yours. Yeah, keep going. Try to back your boy here.
This is insanity out of you. Like,
No, he
I
wasn't
understand
fat-shaming him.
loving your guy, right? Like, Seth Rollins
If-
has made some questionable fashion choices, and I am not ever going to come on this podcast and actually say that. So I get it, but I don't think this is your issue here, bud.
Sheamus came out in the middle of Drew's soliloquy when he wasn't invited to come out and speak about something that Drew
You hear
told
that,
him.
everybody out there? If you interrupt someone, it's okay for them to fat shame you. What are you saying here,
Yes.
Chris?
There was issues that Sheamus
Ron
probably should have
interrupted you,
talked
Chris.
to
Go right ahead.
Drew in the locker room. So Drew just brought up other locker room stuff. It's just locker room talk, guys. I don't know why you're getting all bent out of shape about this.
It's just locker room talk. Yeah, because locker rooms are a great place to be for everyone all the time, especially back in the day. Okay, let's talk about this. AJ Styles is going against Cody Rhodes in the main event at Backlash. That'll be on at 2:00 in the afternoon or something like that I think it's on Saturday in France. Personally, I think this is going to be a terrific match back and forth. It's a hard match, though, because no one in their right mind thinks AJ has a chance. It really hasn't been built up that much yet. It could start. AJ built a decent feud with LA Knight, and last time I checked, Rod, Cody Rhodes is a better wrestler than LA Knight.
You think you're gonna go out on that
A little
limb,
bit.
Jim, and say the American Nightmare?
My
is
hottest
better
take.
than-
We're gonna have hot takes in the NBA podcast too. Just a quick tip: Joel Embiid, tall. All right, go ahead.
Joel Embiid. See, Jimmy's got the facts for you. That's why he's the guy that holds this entire thing together, the wrestling show and the NBA show. I'll tell you. But my question is AJ Styles like big overseas because of like his Japan stuff, right? They're like, do they love Japan wrestling over in France? Japan wrestling.
No, go with it. That's fine. That's what it is. Yeah. It's Japan wrestling.
New Japan.
Honestly,
what
that's
it's
not.
called,
But
right?
you know what? You say that it's not a horrible idea, though, that he would be a little bit more name recognition to get over there. Listen, AJ Styles, I think, is fantastic.
around
He
a
could
long
be
time,
world
too.
champion. But they just haven't written him well over the past year or so. So hopefully they get back in there. Hey, Chris, got a question for you. What could get you interested in the draft that happens on Friday and Monday?
How about some clear defining rules about what the draft means and
That will never
and-
happen.
and
Rules?
if there is there an additional reason to it other than some make believe division of the brands? Are we gonna have give me like a real brand split where there isn't anything and we have like Raw versus SmackDown at PLE events and things like that? Like give me something
don't-
like that.
I don't think we want to start introducing words like make believe on the podcast here, Chris. That was one that you were just throwing out while you were trying to describe what you want to see in the draft. I don't know that we want to start making make believe happen.
Hey,
on a
Rod, though,
wrestling
he doesn't bring up a good point, though. Do you think with Triple H being here, there will be more of a divide for Raw and SmackDown leading up to a Survivor Series that actually matters?
I mean, I would hope that, but you and I both know that that's just not going to be the case, right? I mean,
Nope.
literally probably a week after the draft happens, somebody's going to be on some other show. It's going to be a thing. We're going to get there because we have TV network executives at play here.
Yeah.
Okay. And that's what's just going to happen. Somebody somewhere is going to have a kid, right? And who's going to say, Daddy, how come I don't ever get to see the American Nightmare? And then that TV executive is going to say, hey, I need Cody over on my show. Or, it's going to happen. There's just no particular way you're going to have everybody plow ahead on one show and everybody plow ahead on another. And they're not going to crisscross anywhere. It's just not going to happen because you already got to intermingle them at the PLE. So it's ridiculous. I guess we need TV content because this is a TV content business at its heart, but it's ridiculous.
Chris, they did break up every title, so we definitely have two separate shows, two separate titles. What do you think? Is it going to work?
I mean, probably not, right? I mean,
Okay,
you guys have not given me any kind of
You don't
confidence.
have to listen to
in
us.
that-
I'm an idiot. What do I know?
Jimmy's not. I trust
He
what
didn't
Jimmy
say
says.
anything. He just kept letting me talk. He didn't say anything.
There's been 2 years of me on this podcast of hearing Jimmy because we all know the brand split is real.
But you
Wink.
also know, Jimmy, he's not going to ask a question that he doesn't have an answer to. And he asked me the Triple H question. So perhaps he thinks differently about it.
I think that it's going to stay pretty good until Survivor Series for sure, because I think they want to build up that Pierce and Aldis just feuding back and forth. But I do think, Chris, there might be one or two set, not even rules, just kind of regulations on it that will give them a little bit of wiggle room if they need it. They've got a lot of people hurt right now, so they're going to have to bring in some people to help out. So that is the draft. We will have a big update next week on the draft. And with that, you've been listening to the Yeah We Know podcast, part of the More You Knows Podcast Network, In the Ring with Jimmy, Chris, and Rod.
I understand we want to have pay-per-views in foreign countries, but we got to do something about these afternoon pay-per-views. All right, we just have to, because that's just no one's watching it at 2:00 in the afternoon. No one. Stop it.
Goodbye, net. Yeah.
All right, everybody, we're gonna go to the fast break right now because we got a lot of NBA to talk about. So let's cue the music and get another. Let's figure it out.
Playoff.
Welcome to the Yeah We Know podcast, part of the More You Knows Podcast Network. We just did that. Welcome to the fast break, the fastest 15 minutes in the NBA. I'm Jimmy, Chris, and Rod are here, and I'm starting things off hot. I got two things to talk about. Number one, that episode that you recorded last week. You remember that, everybody? No, you don't. Why? Because they're predictions. And Cowboy Derek, I love you to death. Cowboy Derek, you did a great job. I appreciate you. But your predictions were so bad, I couldn't even handle it. So I will throw that up later this postseason as a lost episode so you can listen to how bad the predictions were, how those Kings playoff games going. Hey, those Heat, they stink. They're not coming in anywhere. The 76ers, watch out, Chris. They're coming. This is like me on the NFL, guys. Seriously, one of us can be bad, not all three of you.
He's not wrong.
Let's talk about the final wins league tally.
Oh.
There were 2 weeks, week 2 and week 3, that I was not the winner. That stayed that way as I came away with 448 victories, an over 50 game lead over number 2. But I will tell you this, gentlemen. You two were mediocre and very close to each other at that. The second place had 393 wins.
Let's go.
The third place had 389 wins.
Let's go.
And Chris King, you are second place with 393 wins. Rod with 389. Congratulations, everybody. We really did a great job. I would say our best picks were the picks for each other because I had the worst record with the Trailblazers in the West. Rod had the worst record with the Pistons in the East, and the Wizards were just the Wizards, and it didn't really matter, Chris.
I'm going to tell you, I really feel like I'm like a teenage kid who's just been admonished by one of his parents. So he comes on here hot, Rod, upset with us and how we predicted our lost episode predictions. And then,
horrible.
And then continued to admonish us and our lackadaisical or lackluster picks in our wins league draft, Rod. I feel like he's about ready to just kick us off the pod altogether.
See, this one,
I
would akin this one more like kind of like I think they call it Chinese water torture, right? Where like he just kind of like drip, 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 right? Because he basically has just been hitting us with this week after week after week, right? He starts every pod with his new wins total and how like for a couple of days, Rod, I didn't even have to add a positive win for your team. You know, he'd give us a bunch of that as the year went along.
Had so many times where I didn't have to add.
See, he's ready. He's got one chambered, ready to go. Boom, right there when I set him up for it. So it was a long-term punishment, and then we got the ultimate final jail term at the end. I think that's more what it was akin to.
So really, though, for me, self-deprecating humor is my favorite. So it's funnier if I'm bad. This is just hilarious that I was so good, though. I really did enjoy that a lot. That was great. We had some amazing games. We had some really crappy games, too. So what we're going to do is we're going to go we'll get to Rod Damnation. Calm down, everybody. We'll get to the King's Hardwood Hierarchy. I know. But I want some hot takes. I want a hot take from each of us. And I'm going to go first. I know I normally don't go first in these things, but I'm going to go first because I've got to get this off my chest as well. After watching 2 Nuggets-Lakers games, my hot take is the referees are actually out to get the Lakers. How can anybody see those games and not think that the Lakers are getting screwed over by the referees? And I almost got through that hot take without smiling, Rod. I agree with LeBron and AD. They shouldn't even said anything.
Oh, yeah, I wondered what you were doing there. I was like, man, he really is selling it. And then finally the little smile there at the end. I love that. Now, hey, listen, I count me as one of the suckers out there that thought the Lakers possibly had a chance. And I mean, just like the world's most competitive sweep that happened last year in the Western Conference Finals, the Lakers are in these games, but they just can't get it done. I will say this, no one really cares, but it works. I went to bed with 5 minutes left in the game. The Lakers were up double digits, I believe, at that point, but I still said to myself, the Lakers will lose this game. Did I know it would be on last second incredible shot fashioned by Jamal Murray? No, I'm not that good, but I did know that somehow the Lakers would allow the Nuggets back in the game, and the ultimate killer in the NBA, Jokic, would get it done again.
Chris, thoughts on my take on those Lakers? They never get calls.
No, never. That being said, D'Lo did get hit in the face. Any other time in the season, that's a foul. It doesn't matter.
Is it though? I don't think so anymore in the NBA, but we can get to that later.
If you aren't even holding the basketball and you catch an arm to the face, it's a foul. Whether you just shot or not, I'm sorry. We see it all the time. You get elbows to the head. It always gets looked at for an extra flagrant. Like, that's what we've been accustomed to. You see a guy get an arm or an elbow into the head or face, it should be looked at and not overturned, but like there's a foul there.
So, but we've seen that in every game, though.
That didn't lose the game for the Lakers.
Oh, no, didn't see. But Rob, we've seen this in every game. Philadelphia and New York, an epic battle. I still don't know how Philadelphia lost that. There were like 2 timeouts missed. There were like 7 fouls. There was a lot of things going on that nothing was called. Do you like this version of the NBA, or would you rather have had that last 16 seconds, last 25 minutes?
I'm probably biased here with my age and coming up in the NBA on NBC era days where we had a lot of games like this, and then also the Pistons, Cavs, Spurs days in the early 2000s. There were a lot of games like this, so a lot of my life, this has sort of been NBA basketball. You know what I mean? Also, child of the 80s when a three-pointer was new. Teams didn't score a whole lot then either because everybody was just getting 2-point baskets. So that doesn't bother me all that much. I like seeing defense because, frankly, watching so many of these NBA games and even being the big supporter that I am, like, you know, game 52 where it's Utah versus Portland, you know what I mean? And like a friend of mine's like, how can you watch this? It's hard for me to be able to explain to them how I can with the effort level that's being put in at certain times and just the no schemes. But in the playoffs, it's not that. So I love all of it. I love all of it.
Okay, Chris, you've been watching since, that peach basket was nailed to the wooden pillar in the barn. Do you like this new NBA that we're seeing?
I'm torn because I do. I do because I do that. Listen, that's exciting entertainment. All right, let's be honest. That was entertaining at the end of that game.
My wife freaked out. She didn't even care.
Yeah. So that's entertaining, and that's what the NBA wants in the playoffs. All right. However, you do want a coach to be seeing it when they're calling a timeout. All right.
Oh, wow.
I mean, that first one was a little.
He's got to tell them seconds ahead of that if we get down under 20 seconds, call a timeout as soon as you get the ball. He can also say that. And then the players got to know enough. Like, come on, when are we going to blame Joel Embiid for anything?
If you want to blame somebody, you can blame Nick Nurse on his ridiculous.
Exactly. It's never Embiid's fault. It's never Embiid's fault. It's always Ben Simmons or this.
It's not what I'm bringing up. It's not what I'm bringing up. He has decided to let Josh Hart shoot, and right now, that's killing them.
Speaking of killing them, Chris, let's get your hottest take.
Sixers are coming back. They're going to win this series 4-2.
I knew you were going to say that. All right, here's the thing. You tell me how a team with their number one player who can barely walk right now is going to come back from 2-0 down to a Knicks team that is doing pretty well.
I cannot bring myself to believe that this Knicks team is better without my guy Julius Randle on the floor.
They are,
I know. I know, Jim. I just
but they
can't.
have to be better than the Sixers. They don't have to be better as a team. That's the thing.
Yeah, I just listen. I'm not counting out Philadelphia yet. Like, I get that it doesn't look great, but I am sticking by my original prediction, Jim, and sticking with the Sixers.
Okay, so no, that's wrong. Rod, do you see the Sixers coming back at all in this?
No, I got a hot take for you right now. Here's my hot take from the beginning of the playoffs. Joel Embiid should not be playing, okay? He should not be playing. He's absolutely hurting the Sixers. I'm sorry, he is. You can give me his stat line all day long. The Knicks are winning these ball games because guys like Dante DiVincenzo, Josh Hart, OG Anunoby, Hartenstein, these guys are hustling. These guys are out there killing, going after everything. And Embiid is basically loafing up and down the court. And that stuff feeds to everybody else. Embiid is hurting the Sixers. I don't care. 34 points, 12 rebounds, Rod. Fine. He's stuffing the stat sheet because nobody else on that team can score. But Embiid's hurting the Sixers. He shouldn't even be playing. They got no chance, Chris. Fine. Even if I'd be willing to entertain your nonsense right now that the Sixers are going to come back and beat the Knicks, you think Embiid's carrying them any more rounds of the playoffs? Like Jimmy said, he already looks done.
Let's go Sixers.
Okay, good rebuttal. I like that. Good job. So how are they going to do it, though, Chris? They're down 2-0. They are going home. Haven't lost a game at home yet, but Embiid's looking bad, dude. He just can't move. I know. I get it. Same with Rod, but he can't move. How many rebounds did the Knicks get in the last 20 seconds of the game, by the way?
Listen, I don't necessarily know how they're going to do it. I do believe in Maxey, though. All right, you want to talk about a guy that can carry
player of
a
the
team?
year.
Yes, I mean, listen, the dude has been phenomenal this year, and he's still phenomenal. That's who's going to carry him the rest of this series. And listen, we have seen nothing but chalk in these playoffs, right? Nothing but home teams have won. So until a home team loses, do the playoffs really start?
I think they kind of start with what we saw there, but I don't know if Rod can top that, but let's see if he can.
We have to do something about this situation. The momentum is dying.
I don't understand no more distractions.
But I do believe we should all follow one path in life.
Hubris and ego and pride. Sorry, all that was a complete lie.
I love that part. Rod.
My Rod Nation this week is really more of a query, more of something I'm sort of angry about, and I want to just get it out in the ether and see if someone can examine this for me and figure out if I'm onto something or not here. So the Magic traded away Tracy McGrady a long time ago, back in the day, right? Him and Grant Hill, once upon a time, were going to come back and save the Magic after Shaquille O'Neal had left them and they were into the dregs and he was off and traded. And then Dwight Howard came in and Stan Van Gundy, and things were okay for a little while. And then Dwight Howard left town and the Orlando Magic were put under a curse. Okay. We have seen numerous different players roll through Orlando, numerous different assistant coaches, head coaches, GMs, all of the above have all rolled through the Amway Center down there in Orlando. And one thing has remained constant. They have never been able to crack into the top 15 of offense in the NBA in any single season. And now it is coming home to puke up on our television screens. Only if you have NBA TV, thank goodness, because 2 of the games have been bumped over to there. But the Orlando Magic have scored less than 90 points in 2 straight playoff games. Okay. It is ugly down there in Orlando. I feel sorry for Paolo Banchero and his entire family. I feel sorry for the Wagner family because Franz all of a sudden has not been able to shoot. I feel sorry for Suggs because he plays his ass off on defense and it doesn't matter because they can't score the ball. It's ugly down there in Orlando and somebody should investigate this curse.
Chris, he brings up a good point because I think, Rod, they are losing these games to a Cavs team that came in and had no idea where it was going. So that's even doubling down on the misery here, Chris.
I said last week that if you're a Orlando Magic fan, you need to be happy that you saw this type of an improvement from your team. You weren't in a play-in game. You overachieved this year. This is a young team. They are inexperienced when it comes to playoff basketball. This is a little bit more pressure than what they're accustomed to. I'm not surprised that they're having issues shooting. I think you see this happen with a lot of teams when they make it to the playoff and they're young. You even saw it with OKC a little bit the other night. Even though they won the game, they had an off night shooting and scoring. So what they're putting on out there does not look good, and I'm glad it's on NBA TV, so it's not on national television. But it's not the end of the world, and I don't know if I believe in this Orlando curse quite yet.
Rod, is this a good step for them though? They got fifth in the East, like Chris did say. It seems like they are a scorer or two away still. Are you at least excited to see where they're going, or you just think this is going to continue to roll?
Fine, good. Be happy that you all had
Man, I
a
love
great
that.
season that you can wrap your arms around and everybody can go get an ice cream cone at the end of the season. Congratulations, Orlando Magic. You're nowhere close to beating anybody in the East that matters. Chris, these guys might be young, but if they can't score, it doesn't matter. You can give these guys 5 more years and they can't score. It's not going to help.
All right, Chris, we got our King's Hardwood hierarchy. Who you got?
You know, sometimes Rod makes this tough to do, because he knows who I'm putting in the king spot. But then when he goes off on another team for not being quite as good as what his team is, he thinks all of a sudden they need to not be happy about improving from year to year. But Boston's number one. All right. They came out, they did exactly what they were supposed to do against Miami. They controlled that entire game, and they look like an NBA champion level team.
Yeah, we did see the if you make 22 threes, I think that's pretty good too, or something like that. So that's not bad. They live and die there.
Wait
Rod,
a
are you
minute,
wor-
though. Wait a minute. What has
Yeah.
Boston got to do with Orlando stinking on offense? I'm not entirely sure of what like the
It was
allusion
that
you're
last
drawing
little
there.
comment you had to throw in. Fine, be happy about being a 5 seed, whatever, blah blah blah. That's your little attitude.
Yeah, but
That's why I
there's
don't
other
like,
teams in the East not named Boston. I don't understand why you had to make it about the Celtics.
because
You're
that's
just
your
jealous.
team. That's your team, and you've given up on the Kings, and I'm still fucking
And they're
mad.
the complete antithesis of the Magic
Oh,
because Jimmy
whoa!
just told you that.
Family show.
Jimmy just told you that they're the complete antithesis of the Magic. They made 22 3-pointers. You can give the Magic the whole entire series and they're not making 22 3-pointers.
We had 8 bullshits in the last one. We got a fucking and a bullshit. Yeah, it's 2 of them now. Two each.
I
I didn't do an
apologize,
F-bomb. You
dude.
guys did the F-bombs. I didn't
No,
do an
you didn't,
F-bomb.
Rod. You were good. You were good. All right, Chris, who's your queen? Watch
All
your
right.
language.
It's the Timberwolves. Okay,
They're
what
doing
have they?
they're supposed to do?
They have came out and just locked down Phoenix in both games. Okay, the Phoenix Suns, who I was told last week are an offensive juggernaut and are too much for the defense of Minnesota to handle, and that hasn't
Another reason
happened.
it's a lost episode. Another one of our great predictions.
I forgot about the Suns, the worst of all. Hey, the Suns are good. No, they're not. They have 3 players, and when the other team has 5 players, they can guard them. 105-93, and it wasn't that close today. All right. Timberwolves are your queen. Who's your prince? That's a 76.
No, I'm gonna put the Nuggets here
Oh.
because you were down 20 and you still had the intestinal fortitude to come back and fight and then win that game.
Knicks were down 4 with 12 seconds. What are you talking about? You're so anti-Knicks here. What did James Dolan do to you, Chris? What did James Dolan do to you? What happened in Madison Square Garden that you can't let Knicks love into your heart?
You gonna be a Cubs fan again, Rod?
Is Tom Ricketts still the owner of the Cubs?
Then don't ask me dumb questions.
All right, this is an audio and video, and video is weird there. I hate when mom and dad start fighting, but mom and dad were fighting, I think, real there. So let's get a gesture before.
Oh, it's
I
Phoenix,
know.
and Orlando's a close second because they can't
A
shoot.
close second. A close second?
It's Phoenix. Phoenix is underachieving. Phoenix is
scored
supposed to-
100 points.
My favorite part about this podcast is it's literally a made-up list of Chris's ideas, and both of us know that he's wrong in his ideas, and it's terrific. I love
And
that.
Phoenix has not scored 100 points, Rod.
They have two.
They scored 95 and then
Oh, what?
88.
Orlando wishes they could score 95. Orlando scored 95. They might have beat the Cavs once.
Nope.
They got the
Cavs-
93.
Cavs scored 97.
Oh goodness.
Who cares about numbers? Why don't I understand why you love numbers so
I don't
much?
know.
Do
The
you?
numbers
It-
might be good for the winning team.
Yeah, I know it
Having
is the
one point-
NBA. It is basketball. We do keep scoring.
numbers don't
Rod.
count.
Who cares about the score?
Now, Rod, that was a lot more of a Chris statement than
About
you
talent.
wanted it to be.
About
So
talent. That's about putting a round ball through a round hole. You guys talking about all these numbers.
you guys
Talent.
are both round balls and round holes. And with that, you've been listening to the Fast Break, the fastest 15 minutes in the NBA. We got a lot of playoffs to come. We've got a couple games going on as we speak. Pacers need to get this win. It's pretty close right now. Thanks for listening, everybody, and we'll catch you next week.
I also said the Mavericks were going to be in the Western Conference Finals in that lost episode, and that one's not looking great after one game as well. So just, again, bang up stuff out of me. So, yeah, you're right, Chris. I probably shouldn't be yelling at you for anything because clearly I know nothing.
Oh, all of us made bad predictions. Goodbye, Internet.
You guys were so bad last week.
It really was. We were terrible.